Back in December, I was partially in my husband's Story of Hope because Hope City has radically done some wonderful things in both of our lives. And when this series started, Rebranded, I instantly knew that that was my time to share my own story of hope. From that very first sermon of this series, it really struck me just because of the way I grew up in church. I was raised very small Southern Baptist, and I'd gone to churches like that my whole life. You were taught that, yes, God loved you, Jesus died for your sins, but you have to say this, you have to do this, you have to come to church, and don't mess up because you're going to get punished for it. You know, if you do something bad, expect to get reprimanded by God. So whenever something bad would happen in my life growing up, from a very young age, I thought, all right, this is what I get. This is God handing me my punishment for not doing this right, or not saying this right, or doing this sin. When I got to a certain age, I would church hop to other churches in the area, other Southern Baptist churches, because I was just so hopeful that there was something else out there. Please tell me this isn't all that there is, that every church isn't like this. I didn't want to live the rest of my life in fear of God, because that's what I was taught. So I would go to different churches hoping for something different, because I didn't want to be afraid of Him, because I'd met people that had that peace, that weren't necessarily afraid of Him like I was. And I was like, well, why can't I have that? But they were all the same. If you really messed up and you did confide in like your pastor or your youth pastor or your peers around you, it was like a constant state of judgment. It really ruined the whole church experience. It ruined the whole, like, you have these people around you to support you, and because that's not what it was. It was people that said they were there to support you, and then they would turn around and judge you for the mistakes that you made. How do you confide in people like that? How do you trust in people like that and build authentic community with people that don't build you up like you're hoping for, that don't build you up like they said they were going to? I stopped going to church, but I still lived in that state of fear. I would still constantly like check myself with God and be like, all right, are we okay? Are we good? When big, devastating things would happen in my life, I was like, what did I do this time? Like, what did I do that was so bad that God would give this to me? That God would do this to me? After the summer of 2015, when I started coming to Hope City, I was extended the invitation to come, and I'd never heard of Hope City before. And I was really reluctant, even though I was told, it's very different. I was like, all right, that's what they all say. Like, it's just a ploy to get you there. So I wasn't really expecting anything different when I walked in the door. I was like, it's just a regular Sunday at church. I haven't been in a while, so I'm a little nervous, but it's not going to be anything different than before. It was very different. I'd never heard a preacher speak so directly. And in all the series that I've been a part of or gone to over the past almost a year, it's been that way. To go to this place and to meet all these people and to hear their testimonies and hear their stories of hope, and to know that they're broken and they're not perfect, and yet they have this wonderful relationship with God, and like this peace about it, and this happiness about Him and who He is and what He does. It got to the point where I asked myself, it's like, well, I want that. How do I sign up? Where do I get it? I don't even particularly remember the message, but it just kind of clicked in my head that I didn't need to do anything to earn it. I already had it. And I've had access to it this whole time, but because of what I was taught and the guards that I had built throughout my life, I'd never let myself have access to it. It was just like this kind of like shell shock. It's like, what have I been doing this whole time? Like, why haven't I been here? Why haven't I found this place sooner? If I hadn't, been taught the things I'd been taught about God, about church, about religion, if I hadn't viewed him the way that I did when I grew up. And if I hadn't gone to the churches I had and had a completely total misconception about God, I wouldn't appreciate Hope City like I do now. I wouldn't appreciate where I am now. I wouldn't appreciate and love God the way that I do now.